Welcome in. It's that time again. Welcome into the only live and local show on Delmarva, talking all things sports. I'm Julian Sador.
And I'm Brandon Bossert. Welcome into Delmarva Sports Insider. Week 2 since sports locally and nationwide coming to a grinding halt. But hey, Julian, keep your chin up because we're still chugging here on 47 ABC. That's right. The news continuing to flow this past weekend. We learned Dover star Elijah Allen was named the Gatorade Player of the Year in Delaware. Well, today we learned that Allen and teammate Eden Davis were named first-team players in the state of Delaware, named by the Delaware Sports Writers Broadcasters Association. Allen was also named the Player of the Year by the DSBA, the first time a Dover player received that honor. Dover's Jaheim Spencer was also named to the second team, and Jason Vasquez was named to the third team. Julian, what about those? What about the girls' side?
Well, I got the girls' side covered. On the girls' side, Abby Hearn and Denia Cannon made the second team list, the only two Henlopen players to receive the honor. That dynamic pair led the Vikings to their first Final Four in 9 years. Woodbridge's Big Two making the third team, Janira Scott and Shakaya Johnson. That pair boosted the Blue Raiders to the Henlopen Conference Championship this season. So, of course, congrats to our local stars who were just honored.
We're going to switch it up over to the gridiron. No, there's nothing happening on the field over there either, but how is that affecting the offseason for the Salisbury Gulls, a team that was one win away from the Final Four?
Then after practice, coach sat us down, talked to us, and told us that shut down to further notice until we find out what we can do and can't do.
The gates locked. The lights remain out. For the Salisbury Gulls, the plug has been pulled on their off-season practices. It's a tough blow for players like Snow Hill grad Amonte Allen, who are new to the Salisbury campus.
I felt hurt because I was just transferring from Bowie State. They started becoming more a family to me, getting to know the guys. I loved it there.
It's an off-season like none any of these athletes or coaches have ever seen. But now the work that's put in over the next 6 months will show on the field come fall.
The kids have to show their determination, their work ethic in the offseason because there's going to be a 100-plus kids coming back in August to make sure that they're in tip-top shape and ready to play and ready for the season start.
For the foreseeable future, athletes here at Salisbury University are not able to use the facilities here on campus, which means they are now responsible for learning plays and working out on their own, but they are getting help from coaches.
Coach Wood and Coach Matt has sent us a workout plan. Try to get the workout if you can. If not, do things at home to make you better.
I feel like it gives us actually a pretty good advantage. You know, our coaches are very creative when it comes to making sure that we, fill the rosters, get the best student athletes to come here on campus. So that means Skype, Zoom, text messages, phone calls.
Players will now have to wait until August at the earliest to get on the field together again. For incoming players or even veterans, those snaps in spring can be the building blocks for a great individual season or a cohesive unit on the field.
I think I learn things better if I get reps. If I mess up, I know I did this wrong. Definitely go to plays almost every night. All the plays I do know, I set it to the side, then ask the vets that played there before for help if I don't know what to do on that play.
Now with the school gym closed off and many gyms around the state closed as well, it's up to the players to figure out how they will stay in shape for the upcoming season.
That means even though the gyms and stuff are canceled, they still can work out at home. We've got to keep them in shape. And hopefully when we resume the season, everybody's looking good and healthy and ready to go.
I definitely do about 200 push-ups a night, sit-ups. I definitely run before I go to bed at night. To
make sure they get the information from the strength and conditioning coaches and make sure they follow that plan because they're trying to win another NJAC championship and make it to the NCAA tournament.
This is also a critical time for recruiting talent, and Coach Wood and staff will have to find new ways to attract the Gulls of the future.
So they're pretty creative when it comes to making sure that we get the best student athletes here. And also, campus isn't exactly closed, so they're still able to bring tours on campus.
Now, Allen says another thing that helps is the fact that there are group chats for every position. Players can still stay in communication. Obviously, many forms of communication for these players and coaches to stay in contact. This is something we're seeing across the country, Julian, in Division I, II, III at the high school level. Recruiting practicing, working out, all affected by this virus.
Yeah, and Brandon, you were speaking with Alan, and I want to ask you, where's his mind at right now? Because I can't imagine it's a very comforting thing. You just transfer into Salisbury and you're trying to learn the playbook. Where's his mind at through all of this?
Well, like you said, he's one of about 25 transfers for this Salisbury University Gulls team. So he comes in looking to earn a spot on the starting roster as their super back, as they put it. And right now, those spring reps, they're gone for him. So he loses that opportunity to show these coaches what he can do for them. He also loses the opportunity to be around his teammates and build that camaraderie as well. So there's a lot of things that are being lost right now for football teams around the country, along with SU. But one thing I think this virus and what it's doing to society really that we're going to see come fall is what programs truly are the cream of the crop around here. The ones that are disciplined and the ones who have, you know, a good structure to their program, we're going to see them stand out amongst the others. So we'll see what happens come this fall, Julian.
And one more for you, Brandon. I was speaking with the local trainer around here. They said that they're worried about possible injuries this fall because kids aren't there in the off-season programs getting that training. Are you worried about injuries when this fall season comes, if it does come?
Well, honestly, at this point, we have to see how these athletes respond. The ones who continue to stretch, continue to work out throughout the entire offseason, those are the ones who are going to see success. I really do feel like there is the potential that we see more injuries because of this offseason. It's just up to the kids to continue to do what they have to do.
Very true. Well, there is no doubt that COVID-19 outbreak put a screeching halt to college sports, but before things were shut down completely, one Berlin native still found a way to shine for Salisbury University's baseball team. D3Baseball.com released its national team for the final week of the shortened 2020 season, and Salisbury University senior outfielder Justin Meekins was named to the starting lineup. Now, aside from having absolutely stellar facial hair, the Stephen Decatur graduate slashed a .750 average in 2 starts for the Seagulls last week. During those games, the center fielder drove in 5 runs while scoring another 2. Meekins also had a 2-run home run that sparked a comeback win over number 11 ranked Shenandoah. Of course, the tough part about all of this is that Meekins was on to a great senior season now that has been cut short, so we're going to have to see what Meekins decides to do. But keeping things at SU, Salisbury senior field hockey midfielder Ariel Johnston was awarded an NCAA postgraduate scholarship. That's one of the most prestigious academic awards by the NCAA. The Crisfield native was the only field hockey student athlete across all 3 divisions to be named one of the recipients. The scholarships are awarded to student athletes who excel academically and athletically on the field. She was the Conference Player of the Year in 2019. Off the field, she carries, get this, a perfect 4.0 GPA with a major in community health, something that's probably going to come in handy very soon. After graduation this coming May, Johnston plans on staying at Salisbury, getting her master's in applied health physiology.
All right, and we learned on Monday that one of the biggest sports spectacles on Delmarva would have to wait as NASCAR announced that Dover International Speedway's May 1st through 3rd triple header weekend has been postponed to a future date due to the COVID-19 outbreak. Speedway officials are in ongoing talks with NASCAR on the potential makeup dates for the 3 weekend races, the NASCAR Cup, Xfinity, and Truck Series. As of right now, Dover's August triple header is still on as scheduled, and we spoke with Dover International Speedway CER Mike Tutoian on what the track knew and how soon we can expect more action back on the Monster Mile.
When NASCAR was going to be running in Atlanta, they were literally had cars on the track, and that was at the time they decided to postpone the Atlanta and then Miami race. And then shortly after that, when the CDC came out with their 8-week recommendation, NASCAR, and we support it, NASCAR quickly took that recommendation and really shut the sport down. Within the next 3 or 4 days, certainly within the next week, I think from our sport, from our perspective, we'll get some real clarity as to when we start to crank it back up again, assuming that we can start the racing season back up again in early May. Our fans have been wonderful. They've been patient. We're all kind of in this thing together. And sports is such the fabric of the United States that really ties everyone together.
Moving on, earlier this week, we went inside the vault back to when we first brought sports back here at 47 ABC, back to 2014, 2015. The Polytech boys basketball team, one of our favorite stories of all time here, led by head coach John Pierce, Juwan Gray, Devon Mallory, Richard Hicks and company, going 19-1 in the regular season, undefeated in the state of Delaware, got to the final before they fell by 7 to current NBA player and former Salesianum standout Dante DiVincenzo. That was the first state championship game appearance in Polytech High School history. Since then, the program has gone 21-75, so maybe a once-in-a-lifetime run that year for the Panthers. And coming up on Delmarva Sports Insider, Decatur Wrestling has been a dominant force. After the break, we'll take you through the journey of rising star Nico D'Amico.
I'm Eden Davis from Dover High School, and you're watching Delmarva Sports Insider.